Hey, quick question. Before we even get rolling today, do you ever notice how sometimes people step into personal growth through what I'm going to call is the side door? Like they don't start by sitting down and confirming reality or owning anything. They just decided, you know what, like I'm going to hit the gym, or I'm going to start journaling, or I'm going to walk into that meeting with extra confidence today.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of like skipping the appetizer and just, going straight for the steak. I mean, you could do it, but eventually you got to come back around, right? I mean, look, nobody's mad at you. Nobody's looking down on somebody, because they decided to work out or now they're setting goals for themselves or trying to get that next level up. That's still coin in action. But here's the catch. If you want that change to stick, you eventually have to circle back around. You've got to confirm what's actually true about where you are. You got to own why you're chasing what you're chasing. Otherwise, I think we just risk staying at surface level. It's all appearance, no alignment.
Yeah, it's like putting whipped cream on like a mud pie. Like it looks good, but you're still eating mud. And look, today that's what we're going to dig into. The side door to growth. And how coin lets you kind of start anywhere, but it won't let you stay shallow. Over time, it keeps pulling you deeper from vanity to meaning and from external confidence to internal congruence. So let's talk about that.
Welcome to the Nature of Everything podcast with Bo and Clint, where we deep dive into the world of personal development through coin. Confirm it, own it, be intentional, and change the nature of everything.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nature of Everything podcast, where we discuss personal development through coin. Confirm it, own it, be intentional, and change the nature of everything. I'm Bo.
And I'm Clint. And today we're talking about something that a lot of us actually live out without even realizing it. What we're calling the side door to growth.
Yeah, because here's the truth. Not everybody starts their growth journey by sitting down and doing this full self-audit or journaling for 3 hours or confronting every ugly truth in their life. Like a lot of us start with action. We'll just pick something to do. Maybe we hit the gym, or maybe we finally stop ghosting our dentist. They must hate us. Or maybe we just decide that we're going to walk into a room with a little more confidence. And that's kind of what we're calling the side door.
Yeah, and sometimes the side door, it just feels easier. If I don't have to deal with my emotional baggage today, but I can at least, drink that gallon of water or show up on time, you know what? Hey, that's progress.
That's so true. And what's cool, coin makes space for that. You can start anywhere on the coin.
Sure.
Right? Nobody's mad, like you said, for taking that side door, but eventually, if you want a long-term change, coin's going to circle you back around, because at some point you have to confirm where you really are and you have to own what's really driving you. Otherwise, again, it's just all on the surface.
Look, we've all been there and return there often. I mean, both of us have. We've had our seasons where we tried to just slap intentionality on top of all of our avoidance. Like we know that. Look, it's like being intentional. I mean, don't ask me about my feelings or anything, but I'm so intentional right now, right?
Yeah, and you know what? It works
Sure.
For a little while.
A bit. Yeah, just a bit.
But over time, coin just won't let you stay shallow. Like it wants to pull you deeper from vanity into meaning. Like I said, from external confidence to internal congruence. And that's really all that we're unpacking today.
So let's just get right into it. What does it actually look like to step into growth through that side door that we've mentioned? And what happens when coin brings you back through that front door? Okay, let me try to paint a picture. The side door to growth usually looks like this, at least for me. You don't just sit down and do a deep soul search like you mentioned. You just sort of do something. You sign up for a gym membership or you download your meditation app. You decide, hey, look, I'm just going to quit sugar this month. Like, I'm not doing any processed sugar. Or maybe none, right? And maybe you just say, I'm showing up at work tomorrow like I've got my shit together. Like, I'm ready for this. I mean, even if you don't, you just decide, like at the spur of a moment, just like you just tag in there. And that's what we're talking about. That's that side door approach.
It's like sneaking into a concert. You don't go through the main gate with everybody else, but you found a crack in the fence and you just slip in. But hey, you're still at the concert.
And honestly, you know what? Don't get me wrong. We should celebrate that. I mean, not necessarily breaking and entering or not paying the artist for their, talent, but metaphorically speaking, starting is starting. It simply is. Not, nobody's going to look at you and say, oh, sorry, but hold on. You didn't confirm your emotional baggage before you hit the treadmill. Okay. Sorry, that's an invalid effort. Flag on the play. You're out of here. I mean, nobody's going to do that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, nobody's getting mad for you lifting weights and setting goals or trying to build confidence. That's what coin is. But here's the kicker. If you never circle back and you never really confirm it, and maybe why you're doing it, take ownership of it, maybe you're going to build a great Instagram story, but it's not sustainable.
I completely agree. And if I'm in the gym, like just to get abs, so I feel better in pictures, but I haven't confirmed that reason, I hadn't decided why I want that six pack, I'm probably actually just insecure about my self-worth. Then guess what? When summer ends, probably so do my motivations. Because the appearance was the goal only, but there wasn't an alignment that was associated with that, the likelihood of you sustaining this piece probably going to falter.
Yeah, and look, as we start to slowly move into fall, you don't need abs with sweater weather. I just like to say
Exactly.
that.
100%. Absolutely.
And look, that's the danger of the side door, though. It's going to let you in, but it won't keep you there. Because eventually you're going to have to circle back through the front and you're going to have to face reality. And that's kind of the beauty of coin. It doesn't care where you start, but it won't let you stay there.
And I think that is huge because it takes the pressure off in so many ways. You don't have to wait until you've got your life fully mapped out and where you're going to start and how it's going to go and where it's going to finish. You just have to start somewhere. So it's always allowable. But we think that for this process to stick, we will eventually have to go deeper than that. We're going to have to explore that further because just starting can lead to just superficial success.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we said, from vanity to meaning, from the highlight reel of life to your actual whole truth. And that's the shift that we're talking about.
All right, so let's put this to the coin framework then, because that's really where this comes to life. So you start through the side door, sure, no problem. But coin, it's designed to add those layers to it. So it's kind of like gravity, right? Eventually, it's gonna bring you to the center, and coin works that same way.
Yeah, so let's start with confirming. This is where you stop pretending and you get real about what's actually true right now. If you joined a gym, that's awesome. Confirm
Sure,
it.
absolutely.
Are you there because you want to get healthier or you're tired of hating how you look in pictures? I mean, both might be true, but naming it matters. Confirmation is kind of like the flashlight in the dark room. Like it's going to show you what's actually there, not just what you hope is.
And to add to that, naming it matters. And it's okay if it is that you hate how you look in pictures. It's also okay if it's because you want to get healthier or a combination of all of that. Like those are all valid. It's not like you have to pick the worthier. Just be honest with yourself, confirm what it is. Because if you don't name it honestly, then you can't get the ownership piece. And the ownership piece, that's where that gut check actually happens. You're not just confirming, hey, yeah, I joined a gym, but you're owning why. And that's what I'm talking about, being honest about why you are doing those things. Because if you can get to the meat of that, now maybe you've been chasing validation for whatever this is. And I don't know, maybe you're also like trying to escape your insecurities. I don't know, maybe you genuinely just want to be strong enough to carry your own groceries without looking like, you wrestled a bear in the driveway. I don't care. Like it doesn't truly matter why this is to someone else. It has to matter why it is to you and to be honest with that so that you can confirm that for yourself and own that piece all the way to the end.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to wrestle a bear in the driveway, you got to own that.
You better be strong enough. You better hit the gym. I'm just saying.
Because, look, if you don't own it, you're just going to keep outsourcing the responsibility.
Sure.
You're going to blame the trainer, or you're going to blame your schedule, or you're going to blame your genetics. But ownership says, like, no, this is my journey, my reasons, and my responsibility.
Okay, and look, once you've confirmed and owned this, you can be meaningful about your intentionality because it shifts from some random effort to that purposeful effort. It's not just about, hey, I go to the gym. It's about, I'm building these practices, and these practices support the kind of life I actually want to live. And you know what? Here's the crazy part. Being intentional doesn't even have to be flashy. It doesn't have to be dramatic, and it doesn't have to look cool. Sometimes it's just, small pieces, small choosings of steps, and like maybe you get more sleep, or maybe you don't watch another episode on Netflix. Maybe you actually choose rest and recovery.
And look, when you start to string all that together over time, you get to the last part. You get to the change the nature. And this is where the shift starts to happen. Like suddenly it's not about fitting into the jeans or, how does my butt look in these jeans? It's about becoming the person who treats their body with respect. And it's not about chasing external confidence. It's about living in internal congruence. And that's what changes the nature of everything.
I mean, that's that's like the secret sauce there, man. I mean, well done. Like coin, it lets you start anywhere. But like we've said, it won't let you stay shallow. It won't let you stay stagnant. You might start with intentionality just right out of the gate. Boom. Going to the gym, journaling, eating clean, giving up processed sugar, whatever it's going to be. But eventually, the framework's going to pull you back to confirming and owning. And when you do that, that's when you move from those temporary possible results to that long-lasting transformation that you've really been seeking for yourself.
Yeah, I mean we've lived this. We've both
Sure.
started projects with that pure side door energy, right? Just trying to look the part.
Yep.
But the moments that stuck, the habits that really lasted, the confidence that's real, it's because at some point we circled back through coin. We confirmed it and we took ownership of it. And then we moved forward with intentionality still, yes, but kind of different.
Sure.
And that's how the nature of everything changes. So look, let me throw myself under the bus here. My partner is what you might call like crunchy. I don't know if that's okay for me to say. Like natural, Whole Foods, farmers market vibes, And look, I like all food. I don't discriminate. I'm awesome like that. Burgers, tacos, sushi, fried chicken. If it's edible, I'm in.
I get it. I've watched you demolish a plate of nachos that you probably could have fed a small village with. I mean, I'm not saying it's not impressive. It's just kind of scary.
Look, I won't disagree.
Yeah.
So look, one day she tells me, she was like, I think I want to try a pescatarian diet. And I'm like, what's that? Like, I thought it sounded like a new religion. And she explains, like, okay, it's like vegetarian plus fish. And I'm like, sure, why not? Might as well just cook one meal instead of two, right?
I mean, yeah, efficiency. Look at you. You weren't converted. You were just lazy about it.
Exactly. I wasn't on a health journey. I was on a dishes journey. But look, here's the wild part. After a few weeks, I actually felt better. My energy was up and I liked the food. I was into it. And for a minute there, I was like, look at me. I'm like living the crunchy life.
Yeah, I can picture you like all hip shirt and I can't wait to see you carrying your reusable tote bag around and talking about quinoa like you probably discovered it or something.
Look, but here's the kicker. Am I still eating pescatarian style today? And the answer is no, because I never actually confirmed it and owned it for me. Like I didn't ask like, why do I want to eat this diet style? Like, what does it mean for my values or my lifestyle? I just kind of borrowed it from her. And because I didn't confirm it and own it, it was really easy to slide right back into the same old pepperoni pizza.
Dude, I mean, what a perfect example. Yeah, you went through the side door. I mean, it's not that you didn't get benefits. You absolutely did. You got some benefits and you felt great for a while. But without confirming it or owning it, I see that. It didn't stick. And you know what? That is the whole point of coin. If you don't circle back, the side door just becomes, I don't know, a revolving door in its own way.
And look, I think that's where a lot of us land. We try something new and it feels good, but because we didn't do that deeper work, it just fades. And look, that's not failure. It's just an invitation to circle back through coin.
All right. So, yeah, and that's fair. So let me flip this around. I guess something from my own life. Growing up, my brother played a bunch of instruments, and being older, he generally beat me to it. He was always picking up, whether it was guitars or piano, saxophone, whatever it was. If he could get his hands on it, he was able to, to work it out and make it sound good. And as a teenager, you know what? I like to pick those up as well. But not because I had this grand plan to become a musician, or not that I even thought that I was very attuned to that or creative in any way, but it's kind of the other way around. It was a total side door moment. It was much because he was picking those up. It had no effect on my values or my desires. My only side door intentionality at this point was just he picked it up, so I'm going to.
Yeah, it's a classic little brother move. Like, oh,
Sure.
you're into this? Like, cool, me too.
Absolutely. Look, I had I had no strategy, no vision. No, don't get me wrong. I'm 10 or 11 years old as this starts. So, I mean, it was just curiosity and, obviously competitiveness. But realistically, here's what happened. Yes, it was a side door approach, but it stuck. I kept playing. At first, it was just for fun. I mean, it was just for me. But over time, I did start confirming that it did truly matter to me. Music wasn't just a hobby. It was a hobby at first that I was just sort of borrowing from my brother, but it becomes something that I genuinely love. And when I owned that, and when I said, okay, look, being a musician is actually part of who I am. That is truly a real thread through me. It became a core part of my identity.
You know what? And that's the difference right there. You also started kind of through the side door, but eventually you circled back and you
Sure.
confirmed it and owned it. And now it's just a part of your foundation. And that's why it lasted.
Indeed. And that, again, I do think that that's the lesson here is that you can stumble into something, whether it's, the random diet or an instrument or a career, whatever it may be. But the things that stick are the ones you eventually confirm and own. Otherwise, I do believe they fade.
Yeah. And it shows the whole arc. Like side door, it's fine. But coin keeps you from staying surface level. If you confirm it and own it, it can change the nature of everything and especially your identity. Okay, so let's bring this back to you all because it's easy to hear our stories and think like, well, cool, that's you guys. But the real question is like, what's your side door?
Absolutely. Like, what's that thing that you started doing just because it was convenient or because it looked good or maybe because somebody you loved dragged you along? I mean, maybe it is a diet.
Why do you keep talking about this?
I
Like,
don't know, man. Maybe it is a diet. I can't call it. I don't know. Maybe it's your morning routine or like you mentioned earlier, just showing up with confidence in a place where you used to like feel like you had to shrink back from.
yeah, and here's the follow up. Like, have you circled back yet? Have you confirmed why you're really doing whatever you're doing? Have you owned the deeper reason why it might matter to you? Because that's the difference between something that fades and something that lasts.
Exactly. And look, this isn't about guilt or shame and never has been. If you realize you're doing something that's surface level, once again, that doesn't mean that you've failed. It is feedback, but it does mean that you've got an invitation to go deeper. You can build on that. You can layer on that. To let coin do what it does best, it pulls you back into alignment.
Think of it like this: you can start anywhere. You can walk in through the side door. But if you want real transformation, you eventually have to come through the front door.
For
You have to
sure. Yeah,
confirm and own. And
indeed.
that's where meaning replaces vanity and where congruence replaces appearance.
So, you know what? Here's something practical you can do this week. Just pick one thing you're working on right now. Like just one. Like, don't overwhelm anything. Ask yourself, why did I start this? Or what's true about where I really am? And what would it look like to own this for myself instead of just borrowing it from wherever I got it from? What would it look like if I actually confirmed and owned this fully for me?
Yeah, those are great questions. And look, bonus points if you actually write any of that down. Journaling, leave yourself a voice note, like whatever works for you. Because getting it out of your head and into words, that's really where some clarity kicks in.
I'll tell you this, if you're really brave, share it with someone, whether it's your friends, partner, or you know what, even us online. Come share with the coin community. It's like sometimes speaking it out loud, it really is the thing that confirms it for real.
All right, look, so let's wrap this up. Today we talked about the side door to growth, which basically means a lot of us start with action, hitting the gym, starting a journal, meditating for like 3 days, but we don't actually confirm it or own it. And you know what? It's fine. You still get credit. I mean, you're in the building.
That's fair. Look, the side door works. I mean, I've walked into weddings or graduations or Taco Bell or two, through the side door. It doesn't matter. Like, you're there. You're still there. But the catch is, if you never circle back around to that front door and you confirm it and you own it, then you're just kind of, like you mentioned, like you're sneaking. You're sneaking in for like free appetizers or free concert tickets. But you're just a guest, right? You're just borrowing it. You're just sneaking in.
Well, look, if we're being real, we all know that we want to go to the grocery store on free samples day. Okay. But look, here's the deal. If you want change that sticks, if you want transformation that lasts longer than your New Year's resolution, well, then you got to circle back, confirm what's true, own why it matters.
That really is the shift. I mean, that's coin in action.
Look, so here's the homework, and don't panic. There's no Scantron. But just pick up one thing you're doing right now, like working out or trying to be a better parent or partner or whatever it is. Like, ask yourself, have I confirmed my truth about this? Have I owned why this matters? And if not, well, congratulations. You just found your homework assignment.
Absolutely. And look, if at all possible, share your side door story with us. Find us on Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, basically anywhere that people waste their time when they're supposed to be working. Like, search Coin Your Life.
Yes, be intentional about that.
Absolutely.
And look, the coin book, it's out. It's live at coinyourlife.com. It's got more depth and tools and at least 30% fewer jokes than the podcast, which I think could be a selling point. Or not.
Or not. I don't know. It depends on how much punishment you're into, probably. But look, either way, we're grateful that you're here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up for yourself. And thanks for being part of this coin community. Honestly, it means the world to us.
And remember, it's okay to start through the side door. Just don't forget to circle back. Otherwise you're basically the guy that bought the gym membership in January and is now paying $40 a month for a really expensive keychain. and look, a super quick plug for the book. It costs way less than $40. Right, sorry, I'm shameless.
I'll take it. Look, we'll see you next time. And look, if anybody asks why you're listening to us, then by all means, ramble about the side doors or whatever, but just tell them it's cheaper than therapy and you don't even have to put on pants. And I think that's worth something.
It's worth a lot, and I dig it.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check out coinyourlife.com and find us on social media.